Hi guys, and thank you for joining me for another video. It's been a pretty long time since I've actually posted anything, and there have been a couple of changes and things that I just wanted to talk about. So this is going to be a little bit of an update video about some new cages that I've had, one of which you can see behind me. And then I did end up getting Pat a new cage as well. So how my setups kind of used to work was that I had one detolf which Bebo lived in, and then Pat and Polo were in considerably smaller cages. Pat in the terrarium crate from Zooplus, and Polo was in a DIY Samler bin cage. And I decided I wasn't really happy with these cages anymore, so I was going to upgrade them. And my first idea was, having 3 hamsters at the time, I was going to keep the detolf with Bebo in it, and then try and kind of build some kind of DIY thing for both Pat and Polo, possibly a 2-story type cage, so I could go as big as possible and still fit them both in the same space. And so I started thinking through some plans and things, and it was going to be a bit of a project that was going to involve me ordering pre-cut perspex, doing quite a bit of DIY work myself. But I didn't really mind that, because I do think it is quite exciting to build your own thing, and obviously then you're going to have a cage that nobody else has. And it was a thing I was seeing a lot on Instagram, was people building their own, and it was really getting me in the mood to want to do it myself. So I had a lot of deadlines coming up in December and things, so I decided it would be pushed back a little, but I was starting to think about it. However, one day I was on Instagram and I saw this cage behind me on somebody else's page, and they didn't mention what the cage was or anything, but somebody had asked them in the comments and they said they'd gotten it from eBay. Now, I have looked for a lot of hamster cages in the past before, but I've never actually looked on eBay for them, and that's probably why I'd never seen this one before. I don't know if it's a particularly new cage or anything, but I did just search hamster cage on eBay and it was one of the first ones to pop up. And I was having a look at it and I was really happy with both the measurements, and the price was also really good. I do plan on making a full review of it in the future. If you're interested, let me know, because I haven't seen this cage around that much. Now, I would have loved to have ordered 2 of these cages and then stacked them, but it does open from the top, and kind of editing the cage to a point where it would open from the front would have been quite a bit of a task. So instead I decided what I was going to do was then buy one of these and Polo would go in it. Then I would go ahead with the 2-tier cage idea. However, the top cage would just be this one, this Poor Hut hamster cage from eBay, and then Pat I would still make myself to fit the measurements, and it would still fit perfectly fine in my room. And yeah, that was kind of my plan. However, Bebo did pass away, which obviously left the detolf empty. And the detolf and the Poor Hut, I'm pretty sure, have a similar floor area. The Poor Hut I think is just a little bigger. Since the cages were so similar in size, and I wasn't actually sure if the DIY cage underneath would end up working out anyway, I decided that Pat was going to get the detolf. Now, Bebo wasn't the first hamster in that particular detolf. When I had the cage, it was already second hand. So it had a little bit of wear and tear to it, and Bebo wasn't the easiest hamster on it either. She had definitely put quite a lot of damage on the cage. So I decided what I was going to do was take the whole cage apart just to give it a deep clean. So I mean unscrewing everything and wiping it all down, because I mean bedding had even gotten in the seals along the edge because they were just so worn, I guess. So I took the whole cage apart and I noticed that the bolts that held it together were all rusted, and the wood just wasn't in great condition at all, to the point where I did clean it and a lot of it came up pretty clean. The seals were still pretty tinted, but the wooden ends were really the main issue. And then when I came to try and put it back together again, the the ridges in the wood just weren't holding the glass at all. So I decided that that detolf was pretty much done. However, I had gotten really set on moving Pat into a detolf, and I do have a really good unit to put a detolf on top of, and at this point I was really happy in the fact that I wasn't going to be building a cage anymore. The motivation I had to build the cage had kind of worn off at this point, because I'd had an easier option put in front of me. So I just decided to go to IKEA and buy a new detolf. I did want to get him moved in there pretty quickly. So yeah, now Pat's in a detolf and then Polo is in this new cage behind me.